So, 7th graders, we're at the last lesson of chapter 1. The last lesson is a review of the coordinate plane. This is the x and y coordinate, or the coordinate graph it's sometimes called. Alright? It's called the x and the y because of these lines. The x-axis that goes across, and the y-axis that goes down. It divides this into 4 quadrants, they're called. And they're labeled with Roman numerals. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then, the middle where they intersect is called the origin. And that marks 0, 0. So each of the lines are labeled. And when you're graphing, you start at 0, 0. And then you move according to the ordered pair of numbers that are given. This is called an ordered pair because they work together to get you to a location on the graph. This is the x-coordinate. The first coordinate is always how far you move left or right on the x-axis. And the y-coordinate is how far you move up or down on the y-axis. So, if we were to graph this point, point A, find my pen. I don't know where it went. Let's use this one. Point A. If we were to graph point A on the axis, you would start at 0, 0, go 2 to the what?
Left.
2 to the left because it's negative 2. So you count 2 spaces to the left. Now, don't mark that point because you still have to go to the next coordinate, which is down 5. The y-coordinate is negative 5, so it means down 5 from where you were on the x. So remember, don't mark the coordinate until you've gone both numbers. You go negative 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then mark that point. What quadrant is that in? Kate? Quadrant 3. Yep. Quadrant 3, anytime you have an ordered pair that is negative, negative, it will always get you to quadrant 3. Because you'll always go left and then down. Okay? Then, when you're marking a point, you mark it with the dot, and then you label it. Label it with the letter. Put the letter next to the dot. How about point B? Where would you go to graph point B? Where would you go to graph point B? Read it.
You would go, you start at 0 and go 4, well, 4x, and then
Yep, 4 to the
left, right,
right.
and then down 1.
Down 1 or up 1?
Oh, wait, up 1.
It's positive 1, so you go up 1. Good. So you go 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1, and label that letter B. Okay? Now, let's go to your assignment. This one has some points that are already marked. How do you write the coordinates for letter A? Letter A. Now, first of all, when you are graphing, if you're given a blank graph like this, the first thing you have to do is label it. Alright? Now, you don't have to label every line. So, if you want to make every interval just 1, you can just count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and mark where 5 is. And mark where negative 5 is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's negative 5. And now label the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then label the negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's where negative 5 is. So when you're labeling your graphs, you have to put numbers on them. Now, these numbers can vary. You can put just about any interval you want on there depending on what it is that you're graphing. And you've seen graphs that are labeled in the millions. Alright? Bar graphs, line graphs, they can be any interval that you choose depending on what it is that you're labeling. So look up here instead of coloring. And look at where point A is. It is right here. So how do you write the ordered pair for that? Number 1 says, what is the ordered pair for point A? So how do you label that? How do you find the coordinates for point A? Flip?
You go on the X, the X angle, whatever.
Axis?
And then you go into the A where the dot is, and then it's -2.
Yep. So good. So just to clarify, you're starting at 0, 0, and you're counting to the left where it's lined up with A, and that is at -2. So the first coordinate that you would write down is -2. Then put a comma.
And then you do the Y thing, the Y.
And you count.
Yeah, and then it would be -5.
5. Yep, it's down 5. When you count to the dot from -2, it goes down 5. So the Y coordinate is -5. This point is at -2, -5. Now, notice that I always, all the points are written in parentheses. That's important. You have to put them in parentheses. An ordered pair is always written in parentheses. So make sure you write them in parentheses, okay? What if the point is on the y-axis? What if the point is right here? What are the coordinates of this point? Everyone look up here now. What are the coordinates of this point? Let's call this point C. Nate?
0, 7.
0, 7. So again, we start at 0, 0, and it's not over in any of the quadrants, is it? So it's, if you were asked which quadrant is this in, it's not in a quadrant. It's on the y-axis. So that's what you would write is on the y-axis. And it's over 0. So the first coordinate of point C is 0. Then you count to where it is on the y-axis, because that's the y coordinate. And it's up 5, 6, 7. So the x coordinate is 0, the y coordinate is 7. Any questions on that? All right. Finish the worksheet then for tomorrow.